I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So, on some unknown random planet, both the Orks and the Necrons have invaded the planet and are marauding across the surface, destroying everything in their path. Some Necrons and some Orks find themselves in the same neighborhood and are gonna fight for it. That is our scene for today. So, for Necrons today, we have this Overlord with a Resurrection Orb and Void Reaper. This Technomancer, I believe they can get Canoptic Cloaks. Two squads of 10 warriors, 10 with the original Gauze Slayer, these 10, and 10 of the new ones with the Gauze Reaper. 5 Immortals, a Hexmark Destroyer and Deep Strike to drop in if something bad happens. A Heavy Destroyer with an Inmitic Exterminator. 3 Scorpek Destroyers. A Canoptic Doomstalker. And an 8-man squad of Lich Guard with the sword and board, I guess is what they say. So, yeah. We have that for Necrons. So for Orks, we have a slightly bigger force. We got this Warboss in Mega Armor. A Beast Boss. 10 Beast Snagaboys. 10 Commandos. 2 groups of 10 regular boys, one with a rocket launcher and one with a big shooter. A converted weird boy. A pain boy. A big mech with a bubble chucker. A Depth Dread with 2 Dread Claws and 2 Scorches. 3 Depcopters, and a Depth Killer Wartrike. So yeah, goodly sized war. Pretty stoked. I still think the Necrons are going to win, but we'll see how it goes. Orks won the roll for deployment, so I'm going to go ahead and set that up, and we'll start the game. So the Orks chose this side. So the Beast Boss and Beast Boys are in this building. The Big Shooter Boys with the Pain Boy and the Big Mac up here on in this building. In this alleyway, we have the Depth Killer Wartrike and the Depth Dread. In this building, all by his little lonesome, is my converted weird boy. And then in this other last building over here, we have the other boys with the rocket launcher and the Warboss in, mech armor thing. The Depthcopters are just going to hang out in the deep sky area thing. So over here on the other side with the Necrons, we have old school warriors with a Doomstalker. The Overlord near them with the Scorpex in the alleyway. The Immortals and the Heavy Destroyer both up on the 3rd floor here for high ground. And then the Lich Guard, Technomancer, and the old school warriors over here on the far right side. As a personal note, I am super glad that the new Necron warriors are so much easier to put together because the left arm on these old Necron warriors was such a pain. Such a pain. Alright, well, the Necrons didn't steal, so the Orks get to go first. So, Ork movement. So pretty much everything advanced, with the exception of the mech gun. It just stayed where it was. And the commandos that I forgot to mention during deployment. They deployed up here all sneaky like, but yeah, they're not going to move this turn. But everybody pretty much just came out of the building in a great big green wave of crazy. The Depth Killer Wartrike advanced and made it partially up this street a little bit, starting to get towards the middle of the field. So I actually do have a Psychic for Orks, but I don't know enough about Orc Suckers to really do anything with them other than cast Smite. There's nobody within range for that. Shooting, definitely the mech gun. I think that's the only thing that's in range, so double check something, but we'll get into that. So, shooting. So the mech gun with a bubble chakra shot at the Canoptic Doomstalker, hit it, and did a decent amount of damage to it, so it's not really happy about it. Other than that, nobody's in range to shoot, and nobody's in range to charge, so we'll go over to the Necron turn. So, much like the Orcs, a lot of things on this side advanced. These warriors did not advance, though. The Overlord gave them "my will be done," and then advanced over here behind them. The Doomstalker is not moving. Neither are the 5 Immortals up here or this Destroyer. But the Lich Guard, Technomancer, and these warriors all advanced up into this alleyway here to start taking the fight to the Orcs over there. No Catans, so no Psychers. So, no, yeah, my favorite phase, Necron shooting. Okay, so these 4 Necron warriors on the end killed a Beast Nagaboy. The Doomstalker completely destroyed the mech gun. It no longer exists. The Heavy Destroyer with the Inmate Exterminator killed 5 of these commandos. And nobody else was in range for anything cool to shoot with, so the closest enemies, oh yeah, most of these guys advanced. So quick morale phase for those Orcs, and then so yeah, unfortunately 3 of the commandos ran, leaving just the Knob and the rocket guy. But on the positive side is it is the Orcs' turn, so hell yeah, Orc movement. So the 2 remaining commandos have hopped up here on top of this little ruined building piece. The group of 10 with the Big Shooter boys have also hopped up here on the little hill thing here. The Beast Snagger boys have come around the corner to definitely charge into these guys, and the Pain boy is following them. It's a good idea. Over on the left flank, the Depth Killer Wartrike is a whole lot closer to the Lich Guard now. Group of 10 with a War Boss in their midst, ready to charge up there, along with the Death Dread. My converted Weird Boy has also hopped up here on this little hill thing, so I'm pretty sure that he's within Psycho range to do a smite on the Lich Guard. So the Weird Boy successfully smote the Lich Guard for a point of damage. Yay Psychers for Orcs. So we'll go and do some Orc shooting. So the commandos up here both shot at the Locust Heavy Destroyer and did nothing to it. The Beast Snagger boys dumped everything they had into the Scorpion Destroyers, and also, well, okay, yeah, they did 1 point of damage. Over here on the other side, the Death Killer Wartrike dumped everything it had into the Lich Guard and did 1 point of damage. And then the War Boss did another point of damage to a Lich Guard, killing it. It did not reanimate. I was sad. And that's all that really happened for shooting. Charging, definitely this Death Killer Wartrike into the Lich Guard and the Beast Snagger boys into the Scorpion Destroyers. So the Beast Boys successfully charged into the Scorpion Destroyers. They did manage to kill 2 of them and lost the Beast Boy for their efforts. but one of the Scorpax managed to reanimate during that phase. And over here on this side, much the same thing happened to the Depth Killer. It killed two of the Lich Guard, took a whole lot of damage in return, and then one of the Lich Guard managed to reanimate. So having that Technomancer nearby helps. So yeah, that'll take us to the Necron turn. So these warriors and the Overlord moved up. They just moved up, they didn't advance. The Overlord gave My Will Be Done to the warriors. The Scorpex that were in combat have chosen to fall back to over here. The Doomstalker, Immortals, and Heavy Destroyer are all just going to hang out where they are. The Lich Guard are going to stay in combat with the Wartrike. The Technomancer just hopped up on the hill, and the Warriors just moved up behind the Lich Guard. I'm not entirely sure why. I can't really do anything with them right now, so... no Catan, so Necron shooting. So these guys killed 8 of the Beast Boys. And then the Doomstalker finished them off. The Immortals killed 4 of these guys, 3 of these guys. And then the Heavy Destroyer kills 1.5 of these commandos. Nobody over there is the Canoptic, the Technomancer tried to shoot the Wartrike, but he missed completely. So that'll take us to charges. There won't be any charges, so people already in combat. So the Lich Guard did this turn what they were unable to do last turn, and that is destroy the Depth Killer Wartrike. Unfortunately for them, it did explode, so they took a point of damage. But yeah, so that'll take us on over to the Orc turn. So Orc movement. Okay, so these boys just moved further along the hill. The Pain Boy hopped up to hang out with them up there. The Depthcopses have dropped out of their circling above the sky thing and landed up here on this hill. The Warboss and the squad of boys that he was in have all moved forward to hopefully get in charge range. And the Death Dread is just trailing along behind him. So yeah, so Psychic Phase, which will be the Weird Boy trying to smite the Technomancer. So the Weird Boy successfully smote the Technomancer for 3 damage. So that'll take us to the Orc shooting phase. It's definitely not the day for Orc shooting. I thought maybe it was earlier, but it's apparently not. This unit of Orcs and the Commando shot everything they had into these warriors and did absolutely nothing. The rockets shot at the Immortals, and the custom shooter shot at the Heavy Destroyer, and nothing happened to either of those guys either. Sad face. Over here, the rocket launcher out of that group of boys and the big Shia from the Mega Warboss. The Warboss and Mega Armor. Shot at the Lich Guard and didn't do anything to them, so there's that. So charge-wise, the only thing that could really charge is the Mega Warboss and or the boys into the Lich Guard, so we're going to give them a chance to try it. So the Warboss and Mega Armor successfully made his charge, but the boys did not. Oh well. So, combat then. So the Mega Warboss killed the Lich Guard, and they did a lot of damage to him in return. No morale checks that I can remember thinking about, so that'll take it to the Necron turn. Movement. So the Overlord gave these warriors "My will be done," and they just moved a lot closer to the Beast Boss. The Scorpion Destroyer hopped up here onto this level thing here. Doomstalker Immortals Destroyers just hanging out where they are. Over here, the Lich Guard have fallen back, leaving a clear avenue of shooting for the warriors who just moved up a little closer. And also, the Hexmark has decided to join the battle. So, no Catan, so Necron shooting. So the Doomstalker dumped everything it had into the boys up here and didn't really do much of anything. The warriors dumped everything they had into these boys and killed a couple of them. The Immortals killed off the Commando. The Locust Heavy Destroyer did a decent amount of damage to the Depthcopters. The Hexmark kind of annihilated these boys over here. Killed 5 of them, I think. And then over there, the warriors just did a little bit of damage to the war boss. So charging, I guess the Technomancer is going to charge into the war boss, and these Scorpax are going to charge into these Ork boys over here. So both the Scorpax and the Technomancer made it into their respective charge fight experience things. The Scorpax didn't, they killed a Ork and took a little bit of damage in return. The Technomancer didn't do anything to the war boss, and then he just died. So no more Technomancer. No morale for Necrons, so that makes it the Ork turn movement. So the Beast Boss moved forwards. The Pain Boy moved a little bit closer and healed that one boy's wound. These boys are going to stay in combat. The Depthcopters are just going to hang out back there. Over here, the War Boss has just gotten really, really close to these warriors. The boys behind him moved up also really, really close, and the Depth Dread just kind of got in the alley, I guess. The Weird Boy also got really, really close to the edge here, so... Psychic Bays, we're going to cast Smite, I guess, on these Lich Guards since they're closest. So the Orc successfully smote the Lich Guard and killed one. And you can't reanimate from mortal wounds, so he's actually dead. Woe is me. So Orc shooting, this will be a good time. I think almost everybody's finally in range to shoot something. So the Depthcopters, their rocket launcher things, killed an Immortal, and their custom Mega Shooter did a couple points of damage to the Locust Destroyer. The Warboss and Mega Armor and all the boys behind him in range dumped everything they had into the warriors and killed 2 of them. And yeah, that's pretty much all that happened. So charges, there will be charges. So everybody made it into their charges. The Warboss made it into his fight. The Beast Boss made it into his fight, and the Depthcopters managed to charge into the Scorpion Destroyers over there. The War Boss killed 3 of these warriors, but somehow one of them got a lucky hit in and clubbed him for a point of damage, which was enough to kill him, so he died a horrible, horrible death. Over here, so somehow all of these Necrons saved against the Beast Boss, and he survived being clubbed 6 or 8 times. The spinning blades from the Depthcopters killed out one of the Scorpax entirely, and then during the fight phase, the boys that attacked first killed the last Scorpax, so that was another sad phase. Okay, so no morale that I can see. they can't fail it. They only lost 3, so... Yep, that'll take us over to the Necron turn. So the warriors have just fallen back away from the beast boss. The Overlord has hopped up on the hill here. The Doomstalker, Immortals, and Heavy Destroyer are choosing not to move yet again this turn. Over here in the alley, the Lich Guard have just moved over a little bit to charge into the boys, and the warriors just are hanging out right there, and they also didn't move. So Necron shooting. Here in the alley, things are looking kind of green. The warriors managed to kill off one of the boys there. The Locust Heavy Destroyer killed a Depthcopter. The Immortals tried to shoot at the boys, but only one of them can really see him, so they didn't do so well with that. But between the Doomstalker and this unit of warriors, they did manage to kill off the Beast Boss. And the Hexmark can't really see anybody, so yeah, we're on that. So Necron charges, which will definitely be this Overlord into those boys. And on the other side, the Lich Guard into the boys over there. The Overlord made it into his combat and just annihilated the boys that were there. So here on the other side, the Lich Guard made it in against the boys. They killed one of the boys and lost one of the Lich Guard in return, so not too terrible, not too great. Either way, that makes it the Orks' turn. Movement. So for the Psyker phase, the closest enemy unit to this guy is the Lich Guard, but he rolled a 3, so no smiting for him. Orc movement. Orc movement was not a whole lot because there's not a whole lot of orcs left. The Death Dead moved up and Deathcraft is just scooted over. So then we did the smiting thing. He failed to smite anybody, so now we'll go to the shooting turn. Well, if orcs didn't hit on 5s, maybe more of these boys would have done some damage with their pistols, but they didn't do anything. The Deathcopters killed 3 of these warriors, though, so that's something at least. So Orc charging. The boys over there are already in combat, but these Deathcopters are going to charge the Overlord. The Deathcopters successfully charged into the Overlord, doing some damage to him, but he retaliated and killed one of them. So over here on this side, the boys killed one of the Lich Guard, and they killed 3 of the boys in return. So no morale for anybody, so it'll go back to the Necron turn. So movement. So the only thing that actually moved Necron-wise was the Hexmark just moved over to get a better shot on the Pain Boy. So Necron shooting. So the Hexmark, with its pistols, killed the Deathcopter. And then between the warriors and the Locust Heavy Destroyer, they managed to kill off the Pain Boy. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Nobody else was in range for anything. The Immortals couldn't see anybody. So it'll be the charge phase. The Lich Guard are already in combat with the boys over there. So they're just going to continue that combat. So the Lich Guard managed to kill 2.5 Orcs, and the Orcs killed 1 Lich Guard as their little response. Yeah, that'll make it the Orcs' turn. These are the only Orcs that are left, these 4 boys in the Death Dread. So the Orc boys, I guess, are going to have to fall back. Orc movement. The remaining Orc boys just hopped up on the hill, and the Death Dread has moved forward so it can hopefully do some major damage to these guys. So shooting phase, that'll be the Death Dread. So the Death Dread fired both of its scorches at the Lich Guard, who saved against all of the wounds. That'll be the charge phase, so the Death Dread will charge into the Lich card. So the Death Dread definitely made it into combat, but the Lich Guard saved against all of its wounds, and the Death Dread saved against all of its wounds. So with the Necron turn movement, so the Lich Guard just kind of fell back off to the side there, opening up a path for shooting this. The Overlord advanced to get as close as he can, hopefully, before stuff dies, maybe. The Hexmark also advanced up this side, and these warriors advanced up this side. Everybody trying to get over there to do some crazy damage to the last four and a half remaining orcs. Necron shooting. Okay, so the Warriors, Locust Heavy Destroyer, and Immortals all dumped everything they had into the last of the boys and killed them off. And then the Canoptic Doomstalker, which could see a little bit of the Depth Dread, did indeed destroy it with its Doomsday Cannon. So yeah, at the end of the day, well, at the end of this battle anyway, the Necrons have successfully conquered the Orks. Yay, Necrons! If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching. Yeah, I predicted Necrons, I think, at the beginning of this, and yeah, they did. I'll admit I was worried because, you know, the Orcs do crazy things. Definitely going to have to look up what their psychic powers actually are. I doubt it's just smite. Yeah. Have a good day, and thanks for watching.